All right, this is Tacoma Talks, and I'm here at the Pythias Temple with Steve, who's going to give us a tour. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, welcome to Commencement Lodge number 7 Nights of Pythias. This is the what we refer to as the most famous historical fraternal organization no one's ever heard of. At one time, during the height of fraternal orders, the Pythians were third to the Masons and Oddfellows, and then the Pythians. So this is Lodge number 7, built in 1906 by Frederick Heath. If you want to know anything about, Tacoma history, Frederick Heath designed what is now Stadium High School after he finished this building. So when that building was built as a hotel, this is what the interior looked like. So it gives you an idea of the grandeur of what it was before it became a high school. A couple of interesting things about this particular building is that it is one of the few buildings in Tacoma that was built from the ground up to be plumbed for electricity. So early, in fact, that it's actually plumbed for electricity and gas, just because they didn't know if that whole electricity fad thing was going to work out or not. So they wanted to make sure that it had gas as well. This was Commencement Lodge number 7. There were 6 others, but this is obviously the grandest. It was built from the ground up to be a Pythian Lodge. And it's always been a Pythian Lodge, and as far as we can tell, we're going to keep it as a Pythian Lodge as much as possible. The newest thing in this room is actually the painting of the angel, which was added after the First World War. It's a common androgynous angel that was added as a commemoration of Armistice Day after the First World War. A couple of other interesting features. What people commonly refer to as mosaics aren't really mosaics, but they tell the story of Damien and Pythias. Those aren't painted into the alcoves. Those are painted watercolors on canvas that are inset into the alcoves by Carolina, who was this career set designer back in the teens. And it tells the story of Damien and Pythias. The whole idea is that Damien and Pythias are in the heat of battle. They were captured, and the king said that he was going to kill one of them. He said, "No, take my life instead." And of course, as the axe falls, everyone's saved. So if you know more about it, hello, my dears. Oh, Dennis.
He's interested in Pythians. So, I know, so I figured you could follow and we can go tour.
Come on in. This is what I do.
And then you'll explain what everything means in here.
Yeah, all that voodoo history, voodoo stuff that we do. So anyway, just talking about the Knights of Pythias. What was basically it was formed in 1864 by Justice Rathbone, who was a friend of Abraham Lincoln. The idea is that the Civil War is coming to an end, or as my relatives would say, the War of Northern Aggression was coming to an end. And they wanted to come within a way for the northern and southern people working in the Reconstruction South to live together in harmony. So they formed fraternal order called the Knights of Pythias, targeting government workers primarily in the South as a way for the northern overseers to work with their southern governmental officials and bring everything back together. So you'll see the FCB all over the place, and that's for Friendship, Charity, Benevolence. So that's what that is. It's on my fraternal ring. It's on here. It's on everything we do. That's sort of our logo. And each of the colors has meaning, but I can't tell you.
How long is the building right here?
1906. And this is
The whole
what
building or
the whole building. This building was built from the ground floor up to be a Pythian Lodge. And one of the things that makes the Pythian Lodges a bit different than the Masons or the Elks or the Eagles, that they have what they call a closed lodge, which is like the Masons, where everyone is assessed kind of like a homeowners association to maintain the building. And the Eagles are or the Elks would be the same way, which was great when you have all these amenities like a gym and a bowling alley, a swimming pool, and all this stuff. People use it as, their gym. But as membership dropped off, it costs a lot more per person to maintain the building, so those sort of collapsed. We, as Pythians, designed it so each building is between 3 and 5 stories tall. At least 2 of those floors are rental spaces that we rent out, and then that rent maintains much of the building. So that's why we've got the Broadway side where, we've got on the Broadway side is the Tacoma Youth Theater and Umrag Zoo and church groups meet on the Broadway side. On the Port C side, which people don't really realize that exists, is the Seabury Middle School. So they rent this. Broadway is the theater groups, the Port C side is all of Seabury, and then that maintains the rest of the building. Largely, I mean, it's an incredibly expensive building to maintain, and when you just spent $18,000 on your property taxes to maintain a nonprofit building, it gets to be a challenge. But as long as there's rent, we can figure that out. We don't, unlike other halls, we have had rentals in here for special events and meetings and that sort of thing, but we don't rely on that as income because everything. Well, we're here open for first night. We've had a couple of movies filmed here. There's been concerts here. We've had murder mystery parties and that sort of thing here over the years. But it's one of those things that we really, it's more labor intensive for us to put those events on, even as host events, because nights always have to be here when there's an event here. If the doors are open, nights have to be here. So, we don't do weddings because it's just too much wear and tear on the building, and we don't need the money from the rental stuff. Now, we could do that, like we did the Eyes of the Totem after party here, where we gave tours and we had the bar next door, and we had the old speakeasy because we got the wickets where you can whisper the secret password and all that stuff. That added to the ambiance. But that was more of a partnership with a like-minded historical organization that was a strict rental. We just basically hosted the event and put it on.
So this is a Grand Lodge?
This is Commencement Lodge. The Grand is a administrative designation. Grand Lodge would be in DC.
Well, and I thought the lowest one was a castle, so why are you a lodge or a
Castle
temple?
Hall.
Okay.
The whole building is, but this room specifically is a castle hall. This is a local lodge, and technically our administrative lodge is actually in Longview, but since we have the grander lodge and we're in an urban area, we're sort of the repository of that sort of thing. So our members are members of their board versus vice versa. And then Grand is the national umbrella. Seattle has one lodge. The closest ones are Port Orchard, and they actually meet here. They had a lodge in Port Orchard, but because the lodges are downtown, they opted to sell their lodge building and then become basically like a Kiwanis club and do more charitable outreach and stuff. So when they do their secret squirrel rites and ritual stuff, they come here because they want to tie into the history that they can't really get when they meet at Denny's for their regular meetings. We're starting up a lodge in Renton. Some people broke off there because now being members of fraternal lodges is becoming hip again. So there's actually like hipsters who are members of the Oddfellows and the Eagles and the Elks, and their activities every night are at whatever the lodge it is. So and so one of the things that makes us different from the Kiwanis, the Rotarians, or whatever is, yes, we do outreach and some charitable organizations and things, charitable stuff, benevolent stuff. Our lodge, because we are really the last of the great lodges as far as historical building, this is as it was in 1906. That part of our duty is to preserve and present this building. And for the longest time, when membership was down, preserving it wasn't too difficult because we didn't have a lot of people in here. And we've gotten to the point that the more people come in, the more people realize that, oh, I've walked by this building for 30 years and I've never gone inside. Well, it's a Tacoma gem only if other people know about it. So we're just now getting into having more events, being open for first night, being open for farmers markets so people can get tours and demystify fraternal orders and members of the Illuminati like we're taking over the world or something.
So the Broadway market, is that every week that the tours are open?
Yes. Well, we're open
For the tours during the Broadway
during the
market?
tours, as long as, because we all have day jobs. So if we can get away, we'll be open for tours. And then we're open any Monday from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock for anyone who wants to come by and have a hot dog and do whatever. And then we go into our business meetings on the off nights, where we do our secret squirrel stuff, just basically business stuff. Things that are coming up that were activities we're doing, money that we've spent, money we're going to spend, what activities around Tacoma that are historical in nature that we could partner with or should partner with. Because a lot of people want to, hey, can we come in and borrow your building? Well, you could, but we're not a rental hall. We don't want to be a rental hall because, it's $2,000 to clean this carpet. That said, if someone has an event that, we feel that we should partner with, then it's just, sure, we're here. We'll do it, but we don't need that. And it's a matter of, do we have enough staffing to be here for security and to answer questions, things like that, because we don't want our artifacts, 100-year-old artifacts, to leave the building, which happens every time we're open for some reason. People walk out with, 100-year-old garb and swords and things like that.
Membership number?
How many members we have?
Is that
Membership on the books, it's about 60, 75 men and about the same amount of women. The men are generally much younger than the women are. A lot of the women are, their husbands were members and then they became Pythian sisters. And the husbands are dead, but they're still sisters. Where most of the knights now are within the 30, 55 range.
most of them start with men?
Yes, yeah. The sisters were added into the teens. And it's not, the distinction is, yes, we are, there's a male side and a female side, but it's not like the women are the auxiliary. The knights meet here, the sisters also meet here. This is their castle hall as well as it is a knight's castle hall. So when we do talk about the sisters hall, they meet over there not because they're not allowed here, it's because they prefer that room because it's warmer and it's easier to hear and from logistics to clean up and that sort of thing. So, but they do their meetings here, and then their events are open to us and our events are open to them too. So it's not a separate but equal, which is inherently neither. It's by grand statute we have a men's group and a female.
So to join, I know it's open, but you can't be a gambler, alcohol, illicit drugs, and you have to believe in a supreme being.
You have to be over the age of 18. You have to be a U.S. citizen, and I think it's U.S. citizen or a citizen of an allied country. You cannot actively be involved in the illegal sale of liquor, and we've gotten around that by saying clearly I'm not actively involved in the illegal sale of liquor right now because I'm being asked that question. I'm not selling you alcohol right now. Illegal. You must believe in some sort of higher power and or including karma, luck, very strong rafters. So we're kind of wobbly on that. Mostly it's just a collection of historically minded people who have no real tie to historical or fraternal orders that like history, they like the rites and rituals and secret scroll stuff that we do.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. I mean, why would somebody want to join?
Hot dogs. $50 a year for membership and all the hot dogs you can eat in a calendar year. You're not making any money off any of the members. But yeah, basically we like coming here. We like presenting the lodge's history as it sits in Tacoma's history, because historically speaking, lodges targeted a lot of government workers. There was a time when every city council member, every police chief, every fire chief was a member of this lodge because it was right next to City Hall. And so our membership roster is Tacoma's membership roster. Any business owner would have been, a member of this lodge because of how fraternal orders sort of worked. They were, they started out as basically insurance clubs, where the Masons and the bricklayers would join the Masons, and that was,
Well, and the one branch split off to, what is it, American Farmers Insurance?
Right. And so you as a government worker would join a lodge, in this case the Pythian Lodge, and this was your social outlet. This was your networking system. This was your insurance policy. So if you were killed or hurt on the job, the lodge would take care of you. And dinners were upstairs, and I'll show you where that was. And it was reservation only, black tie sort of thing. You would eat dinner upstairs and come down and dance the night away, and be on your way. And of course, with the New Deal after the Great Depression, you had workers' compensation and commercial entities that sort of took on those roles, and that's where you saw the first dip of fraternal orders, because they were kind of figuring out, what are we now if we're not, a financial institution? So then they became, more charitable organizations where people would get together and do events and have a social time, but also, be the Shriners and burn units or whatever, charity you do, and we still do that. To some degree, but that's not our focus. Our focus is the preservation and presentation of this building.
So when you join, are you automatically a knight? Because I know
No.
it goes Page, Esquire, Knight.
Page, Esquire, Knight. And basically, each of those has secret squirrel things attached to it that I can't tell you about.
Is there certain, of course you have to do various secret things, but is there a general time frame, or it just depends on the completion?
No, well, some lodges that are less ritualistic than we are, you become a new member as a page, or you become a pledge, and then you become a page, and sometimes they do Page, Esquire, Knight all on the same night, so then you become, but that kind of makes for a 5-hour day of secret squirrel stuff. But it also kind of cheapens the membership, because you're going from a nobody to someone who can now hold office. Because we are the home lodge for not only Commencement Lodge, but like I said, Port Orchard does all of their right to ritual stuff here too. We kind of, every other month, will do some rank work for everybody, because it is sort of time consuming for us to set everything up and do all that sort of thing.
And there's voting.
Make sure everything. Oh, sure. Like any organization. I'm the secretary. That's my desk here. The chancellor commander would be right here. That's the master of works, master of arms. The vice chancellor, which is like the vice president. And then the prelate, which is like the chaplain. Now, we are non-denominational, non-political organization. We do have a Bible, because that's a religious artifact. Actually came to the building. But on the East Coast, the Pythians are largely known for being a Jewish organization, because most of the lodges use the Torah instead of the Bible. But it's, we don't proselytize about anyone's religious beliefs. We're all sort of run the gamut on things.
60, about 60 people.
Yeah, and
Okay, so
active.
60 people pay $50 a year for their membership.
Yes. Something like that. Yeah. Most like those who, the National Lodge anyway. I think we only keep like $15.
So the rental amounts maintain.
Maintains the rest of the building. And we do
Taking up the membership.
we do have right, and that's one of the things that it's a working class lodge because it's $50 a year versus Eagles Lodge can be $2 or $3.
So is there some philanthropy within the membership? Like if somebody donates some money to the group or?
Oh yeah, and there's a couple of ways that we do our philanthropic stuff. Again, that's not our focus. The sisters pick a charity that they donate their fundraising efforts to once a year, and as tradition has it, we support their efforts. So they pick the charitable stuff. And we do get donations from various things. We do have income for like when we have events or when they're filming something here. Someone gives us $500 a day or whatever. It really just goes to the maintenance of the building. There's always something that needs to be done here. We go through crates of pledge every year just to clean all of this. And then the men maintain the building, so we vacuum everything, we dust it. And it's the first and third Mondays of the month are socializing. We just basically get together when we eat hot dogs and bacon. The second and fourth are business meetings when this is that's 7 o'clock we have a business. And then months that have 5 Mondays in them, and there's 4 of those a year, are days that what we call cleanup, where we try to do as much cleaning as possible just to spruce things up. We have rallies here that set the chairs and change light bulbs and polish things, vacuum things, just for the right wear and tear. We try to keep it as clean as possible, knowing that we can spend our entire lives just cleaning this place, trying to make it clean but manageable. This screen pops down, so we do watch movies every now and then.
Does the organ work?
Bernie Sanders rally, where we simulcast the Bernie Sanders rally. One of our members is a Sanders supporter.
Steve, does the organ work?
Oh yes. Let's see. It started out as a hand pump organ, and now in the 50s they added an actual engine, so it gets pretty loud. The pipes themselves aren't they're a facade. They're actually just painted pine, and the actual resonance comes from the back. And that's as it was designed. It wasn't. A lot of that had to do with just the weight distribution and that sort of thing. We also have, you've probably seen the magic lanterns. Okay, we've got, remember the Federal or National Magic Lantern Society. So we've got about 600 slides of Boston and Philadelphia on top of our own slides we use. The bulbs are secret squirrel stuff. And you can probably figure out what they mean. But what's that? Yellow, red, blue. And it's just one of those things that, as a fraternal order, we try to walk the line of being open with who we are and what we do, but as a fraternal order, part of our definition is that we are a secret society, so there are certain handshakes and things that we can not talk about, just because if everyone knew it, there wouldn't be a secret society anymore.
Well, and I heard that, because I did a tour in here, that the archivist, there's secrets from your own members. There's stuff in the archives that only the archivists are allowed to.
Well, and one of the things is that, once, because of the page, or the ranking system, once you're a knight, you know all of the secrets. Well, you have access to know all of the secrets.
Secrets of the lodge?
Of the lodge.
Secrets of
Secrets are, I'm going to say secrets, not this. The secret rites and rituals, passwords, things like that for the lodge. All is revealed. That said, if you are the archivist, some of the stuff can be known. It's just not known because it's been lost to history. So, what some of the we can have, for example, these robes out because while they are Pythian robes, these are not ritual robes. So I'm not revealing any secrets by showing you something other than it's a 100-year-old.
So are those just for display, or are those also used? Or can you say? Because you just said they're not ritual robes. Oh.
Right. Those particularly ones were not designed to be ritual robes.
Okay. They weren't designed to be ritual robes.
So you can't get any secret scroll information by looking at them. Now, we do have some things that if you knew what you were looking at, you go, oh, okay. But if you don't know what's secret and what isn't, it's just a garment to you. Now, these are robes that were made for what they call the Senate things. You'll see them over here. That's why I have them on display. We did a lot of theater productions and things like that. So called the Dokis, the Dramatic Order of the Cassian Knights. We're the ones who wear the fezzes. You can be a knight without being a doki, but to be a doki, you have to be a knight. And the dokis are the theater fundraising arm, and those are the ones that we're allowed to wear the fezzes. No, the knights themselves aren't allowed to wear fezzes. And I can show you mine downstairs. So that's what those are for. So these are basically theater props. Or that's what they were designed for. And so a lot of the things that we have displayed are used in rituals, but you would expect that, a group called the Knights of Pythians, we have a lot of swords. So not shocking to anybody that we have swords and shields and helmets.